Ladies and gentlemen, what if I told you that in just 3 days you could transform your life? That the voice in your head, the one you listen to every day, could become the most powerful ally in your journey to success? For too long, many of us have been conditioned to listen to the negative self-talk that weighs us down, doubts our abilities, and keeps us stuck. But what if you made a decision today to start speaking to yourself like someone who believes in their potential? What if you chose to change your inner dialogue to one that fuels your growth, ignites your passion, and drives you toward your destiny? I'm not asking you to make some grand promise to change your life forever, no. I'm asking you to commit to just 3 days. 3 days of talking to yourself like the powerful, capable individual you are. 3 days to reset the way you see yourself and the way you speak to yourself. Imagine that you wake up tomorrow with a voice in your head that is filled not with doubt, but with encouragement. Imagine you start your day hearing words like, "You can do this," "You've got what it takes," "You are worthy of success." What if I told you that the simple act of shifting your inner dialogue could be the catalyst that sets you on a path toward growth, success, and personal transformation? The truth is, we spend more time with ourselves than anyone else. Our thoughts are our constant companions, yet too often, the words we speak to ourselves are the harshest. How many times have you told yourself you weren't good enough, or that you couldn't do something, or that your dreams were too far out of reach? The most powerful, yet often unspoken force in our lives is the voice we use when talking to ourselves. Now, I want you to imagine talking to yourself like you are your own biggest cheerleader, like you are your most trusted ally. For just 3 days, make it a practice to speak to yourself in a way that lifts you up. Every time you make a mistake, instead of saying, "I'm a failure," say, "I'm learning." When faced with a challenge, instead of thinking, "This is too hard," say, "I am capable of overcoming this." You have the ability to change your life by simply changing the tone of your internal conversation. You see, we have the power to define our own narratives. If we allow negativity, self-doubt, and fear to rule our thoughts, then we shape our lives around those limitations. But when we speak to ourselves with kindness, with belief, and with encouragement, we begin to rewrite the story of who we are and what we are capable of achieving. It doesn't matter where you've come from or what your circumstances are today. The words you speak to yourself are the foundation for everything you will accomplish. Consider for a moment the impact of encouragement. When you cheer someone on, you give them a boost, right? You make them feel capable, strong, and motivated to keep going. Now take that same energy and direct it inward. Speak to yourself as if you were your own biggest supporter. You'll be amazed at the shift in how you approach life's challenges. Instead of feeling defeated or uncertain, you will feel empowered and ready to take action. This shift in mindset is not just about being positive. It's about recognizing that the way we talk to ourselves shapes the way we approach the world. Our thoughts influence our emotions, and our emotions influence our actions. If you constantly tell yourself that you are not enough, that you cannot succeed, then that is how you will show up in the world. You will show up hesitant, unsure, and doubtful of your potential. But when you start speaking to yourself like you believe in your own abilities, you show up differently. You step into every situation with confidence, knowing that even if you fail, it's not a reflection of your worth, but simply part of the process. When you speak to yourself with encouragement, you give yourself permission to try, to fail, and to try again. You recognize that setbacks are not signs of inadequacy, but stepping stones toward your success. Every person who has ever accomplished something great has faced moments of doubt and fear, but they didn't let those moments define them. They kept going because they chose to believe in themselves, to speak to themselves with kindness and encouragement. You are no different. You have within you the same potential to overcome challenges, to push past fear, and to create the life you desire. But it starts with how you talk to yourself. I want to share a powerful truth with you. The words you use to speak to yourself are more important than the words you use to speak to others. We all know that words can hurt, but they can also heal. They can uplift and inspire. When you speak kindly to others, you help them believe in themselves. The same is true when you speak kindly to yourself. The words you use shape your self-image and your confidence. They influence how you carry yourself in every situation, and they determine how you respond to adversity. But changing your inner dialogue isn't always easy. We've spent years, maybe even decades, reinforcing the negative narratives in our minds. It can feel foreign or uncomfortable to start speaking to yourself with love and encouragement, but that's exactly why it's so important. Every time you choose to speak kindly to yourself, you are rewiring your brain. You are teaching yourself to believe in your worth, your potential, and your ability to succeed. Think about this for a moment. What if, for just 3 days, you committed to speaking to yourself like your own biggest cheerleader? What if every time you made a mistake, you didn't berate yourself, but instead said, "I've got this. I can do better next time"? What if, when faced with a challenge, you didn't let fear take over, but said, "I am ready for this"? Imagine how your confidence would grow, how your actions would shift, and how your life would transform. You would walk through the world with the quiet confidence that comes from knowing you are enough, and that you are capable of handling whatever comes your way. And here's the thing, this is not just a mindset shift. This is the beginning of a new reality. When you start to speak to yourself with belief, others will notice. You will attract opportunities, people, and experiences that align with the confidence you are cultivating within yourself. The energy you put out into the world will come back to you, amplified. So, I challenge you to take 3 days and speak to yourself like you are your own biggest cheerleader. Speak to yourself like you are worthy of every success, every opportunity, and every blessing that comes your way. Don't wait for others to encourage you. Be the one who encourages yourself. Because when you believe in your own potential, the world around you will begin to shift in ways you never thought possible. Imagine waking up every morning and hearing the voice inside your head telling you that you can achieve anything you set your mind to. Imagine hearing words like, "You are capable," "You have what it takes," and "Success is already within your reach." Now, contrast that with the voice you've often heard, the voice that doubts, criticizes, and even belittles you. The voice that says, "You're not enough," "You can't do this," or "This is too difficult." The reality is, we spend more time with ourselves than anyone else, and the words we say to ourselves have the power to shape our lives in ways we cannot fully comprehend. But what if, just for 3 days, you committed to speaking to yourself in a completely different way? What if, for 3 days, you decided to replace the negativity and self-doubt with encouragement and belief? Just think about the impact this could have on your mindset, your actions, and your outcomes. It's not a permanent shift at first, but it's a start. A powerful 3-day experiment that can lay the groundwork for long-term change. The first step in this transformation is to talk to yourself like you are your own biggest cheerleader. How often do we listen to our inner critic, the one that magnifies our flaws and mistakes? We make one mistake and suddenly we're not good enough, or we start to question our abilities. What if, for these 3 days, you decided to replace this inner critic with an encouraging voice? Every time you make a mistake, instead of berating yourself or thinking, "I'm a failure," you choose to say, "I'm learning, this is part of my growth," or "I'm getting better every day." This simple shift in language doesn't ignore your shortcomings, but it does change how you see them. When you start talking to yourself like a cheerleader, you begin to view mistakes not as failures but as lessons, opportunities to grow. Each time you stumble, you recognize that it's part of the process. Mistakes are stepping stones, not roadblocks. By being your own cheerleader, you create a mindset of resilience and perseverance. Rather than letting a single misstep define you, you see it as an essential part of your journey. This practice doesn't just impact how you feel about yourself, it shapes how you approach challenges. Think about it. When someone supports you, encourages you, and believes in you, it's easier to face challenges head on. The same principle applies to yourself. If you speak to yourself like a true supporter, You become more willing to take risks, face obstacles, and tackle new opportunities. You will no longer shy away from the unknown because your inner voice has already convinced you that you can handle whatever comes your way. The second key principle in this transformation is to talk to yourself like you believe in your worth. Too often we base our self-worth on external validation. We look to our achievements, our status, or the opinions of others to measure our value. But what happens when we experience failure or rejection? Our sense of self-worth crumbles, and we're left questioning our abilities and even our identity. But imagine if you spoke to yourself like you already knew that you are worthy, worthy of success, worthy of happiness, and worthy of everything you desire. For the next 3 days, begin affirming your inherent worth, independent of your circumstances. Each time you accomplish something, no matter how small, acknowledge that you deserve that victory. If you make a mistake, don't let it diminish your sense of value. Instead, remind yourself that you are enough, regardless of external outcomes. Your worth is not defined by what you do or don't achieve in any given moment. It's intrinsic. It's a part of who you are. When you begin to speak to yourself as if you are already worthy, you change the way you show up in the world. Your self-confidence soars because you no longer seek validation from others. You are no longer waiting for someone to tell you that you are enough. You already know it. This belief becomes the foundation upon which you build your success. You no longer let fear, doubt, or rejection determine how you feel about yourself. Instead, you stand firm in the knowledge that your worth is unshakable. Moreover, when you talk to yourself with this unwavering belief in your worth, it has a profound impact on how others perceive you. People are naturally drawn to those who carry themselves with confidence and self-assurance. By recognizing your own value, you begin to attract opportunities, relationships, and experiences that align with this belief. When you walk into a room with the quiet confidence that comes from knowing you are worthy, others will take notice. They will respond to your energy, and you will find yourself attracting more positive and affirming experiences. The combination of these two principles, speaking to yourself like your own biggest cheerleader and believing in your worth, has the power to shift the way you approach every area of your life. The reason many of us feel stuck or overwhelmed is that we've been holding ourselves back with limiting beliefs and negative self-talk. We allow our inner critic to dominate, and as a result, we hesitate to take risks, step out of our comfort zones, or pursue our goals with passion. But when you choose to speak to yourself with encouragement and belief, something incredible happens. You begin to see the world through a new lens. Challenges no longer seem insurmountable. You begin to act with confidence because you know you are capable. Failures are no longer defining moments. They are learning opportunities. And success becomes inevitable because you approach everything with the mindset of someone who knows their worth and believes in their potential. For the next 3 days, make a commitment to change the way you talk to yourself. Replace self-doubt with self-encouragement. Replace criticism with affirmation. Remind yourself of your strength, your worth, and your potential. And as you do, you will see a shift. You will start showing up more confidently in the world. You will take more risks, face challenges head on, and pursue your goals with greater clarity and determination. This is not just a 3-day experiment, it's a beginning. The beginning of a new way of living, a new way of thinking, and a new way of seeing yourself. The words you speak to yourself shape your future. So let's choose to speak life, encouragement, and belief. Let's choose to become our own biggest cheerleaders and recognize our worth every single day. When we do, we unlock the door to a life filled with possibility, success, and fulfillment. We all know that the mind is a powerful tool. It shapes the way we see the world, the way we see ourselves, and ultimately the way we navigate life. But here's the truth. The thoughts we entertain, the way we speak to ourselves, can either build us up or tear us down. Think about it for a moment. How many times have you talked yourself out of a goal, convinced yourself that you're not good enough, or doubted your potential? Too often we listen to the wrong voice, the voice of fear, doubt, and limitation. But what if, just for 3 days, you committed to speaking to yourself in a completely different way? What if you chose to replace negative self-talk with words of encouragement, affirmation, and belief? The reality is that changing the way you talk to yourself, even for a short time, can be the first step in transforming your life. The first key principle to apply is to talk to yourself like you are your own biggest cheerleader. The truth is, we all have an inner critic. It's the voice that judges us, criticizes us, and often makes us feel like we're not good enough. When we make mistakes or face challenges, this voice is quick to point out all the reasons why we can't succeed. But imagine for just a moment what would happen if we replaced this inner critic with a cheerleader. Instead of berating yourself when things don't go perfectly, what if you said, "This is just part of the process"? Instead of thinking, "I'm a failure," what if you thought, "I'm learning, growing, and evolving"? Over the next 3 days, I want you to make a conscious effort to be your own cheerleader. Celebrate even the small wins and remind yourself that every challenge is an opportunity to grow. Speak to yourself with kindness, with understanding, and with encouragement. Every time you face a setback, acknowledge that it's part of the journey and that you are capable of handling it. The more you practice this, the more it will become a habit. Your internal dialogue will shift from being critical to being supportive, and as a result, you will approach challenges with more confidence and resilience. Now, imagine the power of this change. When you become your own cheerleader, you not only begin to believe in yourself, but you also become more motivated to keep going, even when the road gets tough. No longer will you shrink back from challenges or let failure define you. Instead, you'll see setbacks as opportunities to learn and grow. And when you start talking to yourself like a true supporter, you'll be amazed at how much more capable and confident you feel. The second principle to adopt is to talk to yourself like you believe in your worth. For many of us, self-doubt is a constant companion. We often question our abilities, our value, and our worth. We measure ourselves by external standards, our achievements, our appearance, or the opinions of others. But the truth is that our worth is inherent, and it doesn't depend on anything outside of ourselves. We are valuable simply because we exist, and we are worthy of love, success, and happiness. For the next 3 days, practice talking to yourself as if you already believe in your worth. When you face a challenge, remind yourself that you are deserving of success and happiness. When you make a mistake, don't let it diminish your value. Instead, acknowledge that you are worthy of success, regardless of the circumstances. Speak to yourself with kindness and self-respect. Remind yourself that you are enough just as you are, and that you have everything you need to accomplish your goals. When you talk to yourself like you already believe in your worth, something incredible happens. You stop seeking validation from others, and you begin to recognize that your value isn't dependent on external achievements or opinions. This shifts your focus from fear and insecurity to confidence and clarity. You become more willing to take risks, to pursue your dreams, and to step into opportunities because you know that you are worthy of success. When you internalize this belief in your worth, it changes the way you show up in the world. You start acting with more confidence, and as a result, people will begin to respond to you differently. Opportunities will present themselves, and you'll attract experiences and relationships that align with the belief that you are worthy. The way you see yourself will influence the way others see you, and the world will reflect the confidence and worthiness that you've cultivated within yourself. The third principle to apply is to talk to yourself like you are in control of your future. So often, we feel like life is happening to us, not for us. We get caught up in circumstances, and we let fear, uncertainty, and external challenges dictate our actions. But the reality is, you are in control of your future. The choices you make today will determine where you end up tomorrow. The way you speak to yourself shapes the actions you take, and those actions shape your destiny. For these 3 days, start speaking to yourself as if you are the creator of your future. When you face a challenge, instead of thinking, "This is too hard," or "I don't have what it takes," shift your mindset to one of empowerment. Say to yourself, "I can handle this. This is within my control," or "I have the ability to overcome this." Even when things don't go according to plan, remind yourself that you have the power to adjust, to learn, and to adapt. By taking control of your inner dialogue, you take control of your future. When you speak to yourself like the architect of your own destiny, you begin to see opportunities where others see obstacles. You begin to make choices with confidence, knowing that your actions today are paving the way for your success tomorrow. You stop waiting for the perfect circumstances and start creating the life you want to live. These three principles, speaking to yourself like a cheerleader, believing in your worth, and taking control of your future, are the foundation for personal transformation. For 3 days, commit to practicing these shifts in your self-talk. Speak to yourself with encouragement, confidence, and empowerment. Replace self-doubt with belief and take full responsibility for the life you are creating. When you do this, you will begin to see a remarkable change in the way you approach challenges, the way you take action, and the way you view yourself. This is just the beginning. 3 days of conscious self-talk can change the way you view yourself and the world around you. And when you shift your internal dialogue, you will begin to change your reality. Imagine for a moment that you could transform your life in just 3 days. What if I told you that the most powerful tool for change lies within you, not in the outside world? What if the way you speak to yourself, the way you treat your own thoughts, could create the foundation for success, confidence, and happiness? The truth is, we often let negative self-talk control our lives. We let our doubts, fears, and insecurities dictate our actions and our decisions. But what if we could change all that? What if we could use the words we speak to ourselves as a source of power, instead of a source of limitation? For just 3 days, I challenge you to speak to yourself in a way that is positive, supportive, and empowering. It may sound simple, but the impact of changing your inner dialogue can be nothing short of life-altering. The first principle I want to share is to talk to yourself like you are your own biggest cheerleader. We all have an inner critic, a voice inside our heads that tells us we're not good enough, that we don't measure up, and that we can't achieve our goals. This voice is often louder than any external criticism we might face. But what if, for just 3 days, you chose to replace this voice with one of encouragement? Imagine waking up in the morning and hearing a voice that says, "You've got this. Today is your day, and you are capable of handling anything that comes your way." What if, when you make a mistake, instead of beating yourself up, you said, "This is just part of the process. I'm learning and growing," or "I'll do better next time"? When you start talking to yourself like a cheerleader, you shift from being your harshest critic to being your greatest supporter. Every challenge becomes an opportunity to grow rather than a reason to quit. You begin to approach life with a sense of confidence, knowing that even when things don't go as planned, you can still rise above it. This shift in self-talk isn't about ignoring your mistakes or pretending to be perfect. It's about approaching life with the mindset that failure is not a reflection of your worth, but simply part of the journey. When you speak to yourself as your own cheerleader, you create a culture of self-acceptance and resilience. You stop letting fear or self-doubt control your actions, and you start moving forward with the belief that you can handle whatever comes your way. The second principle is to talk to yourself like you believe in your worth. How many times have you let other people's opinions define your value? Or perhaps you've measured your worth by your achievements, your bank account, or your relationships. But the reality is, your worth is not based on anything external. Your worth is intrinsic, and it is unwavering. For the next 3 days, I want you to speak to yourself like you already know that you are worthy of success, love, and happiness. Every time you make a mistake, remind yourself that you are still worthy of all the good things life has to offer. When you face a challenge, tell yourself, "I am deserving of success, and I am more than capable of overcoming this." Your worth isn't tied to your accomplishments or the approval of others. It is simply part of who you are. By changing the way you speak to yourself, you begin to shift your mindset. You stop measuring your value by external standards and start recognizing your intrinsic worth. This shift allows you to approach life with a deep sense of self-assurance. You no longer seek validation from others because you already know that you are enough. When you believe in your worth, it transforms your confidence, your relationships, and your ability to take risks. You show up in the world differently, more grounded, more secure, and more willing to go after your dreams without fear of rejection or failure. The third principle to adopt is to talk to yourself like you are the architect of your future. It's easy to feel like life happens to us, like we're just at the mercy of circumstances beyond our control. But the truth is, you are the creator of your own destiny. The choices you make today will shape your future. So why not speak to yourself as someone who is in control, instead of thinking, I can't change my situation, or there's nothing I can do? Say to yourself, I am in charge of my life, I have the power to shape my future, and I can make choices that will lead me to the life I desire. When you start talking to yourself like you are the architect of your future, you take full responsibility for your life. You stop waiting for things to happen, and you start making things happen. You recognize that every decision you make is a building block for the life you want to create. Whether it's taking action on your dreams, setting boundaries, or pursuing new opportunities, you approach each day with the mindset that you are the one in control. This principle requires a shift from passive to active thinking. It means taking ownership of your circumstances and realizing that you have the power to change your life at any time. The moment you stop seeing yourself as a victim of your circumstances and start seeing yourself as the architect of your future, everything changes. You start making decisions based on what you want to create, rather than being influenced by fear or uncertainty. The fourth principle is to talk to yourself like your happiness is in your hands. Too often, we place our happiness in the hands of others. We wait for the perfect job, the ideal relationship, or the right circumstances to feel fulfilled. But the truth is, happiness isn't something that can be given to us. It's something we create for ourselves. For these next 3 days, speak to yourself as if your happiness is completely within your control. Remind yourself every day that you have the power to choose your attitude, your mindset, and your response to the world around you. When something doesn't go according to plan, instead of reacting with frustration or disappointment, tell yourself, I can choose how I respond to this, or I can find peace in any situation. Your happiness is not dependent on external conditions, but on your ability to manage your thoughts and emotions. When you start speaking to yourself like your happiness is in your hands, you shift from being a passive observer of life to an active participant in your own joy. You stop waiting for things to align perfectly and start finding peace in the present moment. You choose to focus on gratitude, on the things that bring you joy, and on the ways you can create happiness for yourself, regardless of what's happening around you. These 4 principles, talking to yourself like you are your own biggest cheerleader, believing in your worth, taking control of your future and owning your happiness, and transform the way you live. For the next 3 days, make a commitment to speak to yourself in a way that empowers you. Speak to yourself with encouragement, belief, and love. And as you do, you will start to see shifts in your confidence, your mindset, and your actions. You will begin to believe in yourself more, take more risks, and create the life you truly want to live. Imagine, for a moment, that your life could change simply by altering the way you speak to yourself. What if the words you used in your own mind every day had the power to shape your reality, your confidence, and your success? It's easy to overlook the power of self-talk, but the truth is that how we speak to ourselves influences everything, from our level of self-esteem to the actions we take in the world. The voice inside our heads is louder than any external noise, and it can either limit us or empower us. But here's the beautiful part. You have the ability to change that voice. For just 3 days, imagine what would happen if you spoke to yourself differently, more positively, more encouraging, and more confidently. You may not notice a radical change overnight, but over time, those small shifts will compound into something remarkable. By committing to this challenge, you could unlock new possibilities for your life. The first principle to embrace is talking to yourself like you are already the person you want to become. Often, we find ourselves speaking as if our future self is someone entirely different, someone we can never quite reach. We say things like, "I'm not good enough yet," "I'm not ready for this," or "maybe someday I'll be able to do that." We speak about our future with hesitation and doubt. But what if, instead of waiting for change to happen, you began to speak to yourself as though you've already achieved your goals, already become the person you aspire to be? What if, for the next 3 days, you started saying, "I am already confident," "I am already successful," or "I am already capable of handling anything that comes my way"? By shifting your language, you begin to act from a place of possibility, not limitation. Instead of thinking you'll somehow get there someday, you embrace the mindset that you are already living the life you envision. This change in your internal dialogue helps break down the barriers of self, doubt and procrastination. It shifts you from "I will" to "I am," which is far more powerful. The words "I am" create a sense of presence and power, grounding you in the belief that the future is already within your grasp. The second key principle is talking to yourself with gratitude and acknowledgement of your progress. So often, we are focused on what we haven't achieved yet, on the things we haven't done, and the goals still left unmet. We forget to recognize how far we've come, what we've already accomplished, and the growth we've already experienced. For the next 3 days, practice speaking to yourself with gratitude and acknowledgement for your progress, no matter how small. When was the last time you truly celebrated yourself for making it through a challenging situation? How often do you stop to appreciate your own strength, resilience, and accomplishments? Instead of focusing only on what you still need to do, take a moment each day to reflect on what you've already done. Tell yourself, "I've come a long way. I've made it through every tough moment in my life so far, and I am proud of what I've achieved." By talking to yourself with gratitude, you shift your perspective from scarcity to abundance. You start to recognize your value and your worth, not based on future goals, but on your current self. Gratitude is a powerful tool that changes how you feel in the present moment and sets you up to take on future challenges with more energy and enthusiasm. The third principle is talking to yourself like you have the power to create your reality. We often feel like we are victims of our circumstances. We tell ourselves that life is happening to us, and we are helpless to change our situation. But the truth is, you have far more control over your life than you might think. The choices you make today are shaping your tomorrow. For the next 3 days, speak to yourself as if you are fully in control of the life you are creating. Instead of saying, "I can't control this," or "this is beyond my control," say to yourself, "I am the creator of my own reality. I have the power to choose how I respond, and I am the one who shapes my future." This shift in thinking allows you to take full responsibility for your life. No longer do you wait for circumstances to change, for things to fall into place. You begin to realize that you have the ability to make choices, take action, and set intentions that will move you closer to your goals. The moment you speak to yourself with the understanding that you are in control, you begin to approach life with a sense of purpose and clarity. No longer are you a passive observer. You are an active participant in the creation of your future. The fourth principle is talking to yourself like you are deserving of success and happiness. We often place conditions on our worth. We tell ourselves that we'll be happy once we achieve a certain milestone, or that we'll be successful only when we reach a specific goal. But the truth is, you are worthy of success and happiness right now, regardless of your circumstances. For the next 3 days, start speaking to yourself like you already deserve the best life has to offer. Tell yourself, "I am worthy of success. I deserve happiness and peace, and I am deserving of all the good things coming my way." This is not about arrogance or entitlement. It's about recognizing your inherent value. Too often, we hold ourselves back because we feel we don't deserve to succeed or to be happy. But when you speak to yourself as if you already deserve those things, you open yourself up to receive them. You begin to take actions that align with the belief that you are worthy of the best life has to offer, and you stop settling for less than what you truly deserve. The fifth and final principle is talking to yourself like you are capable of handling anything. Life is unpredictable and challenges are inevitable. But how you respond to these challenges often determines your success. For the next 3 days, speak to yourself as if you are fully capable of handling whatever comes your way. When you encounter a challenge, instead of saying, "I can't handle this," or "this is too much," say, "I've faced tough situations before and I came out stronger," or "I have the strength to get through this." By shifting your self-talk in this way, you build resilience. You begin to trust in your ability to adapt and grow, even in difficult circumstances. Life becomes less about avoiding problems and more about embracing challenges as opportunities for growth. When you speak to yourself like you are capable, you begin to approach obstacles with confidence, knowing that no matter what happens, you have the skills, strength, and mindset to overcome it. These 5 principles, speaking to yourself like you are the person you want to become, speaking with gratitude for your progress, speaking with an understanding of your power to create your reality, speaking with a belief in your worthiness, and speaking like you are capable of handling anything, are simple yet profoundly transformative. For the next 3 days, I challenge you to change the way you talk to yourself. Replace the self-doubt with encouragement, replace the fear with confidence, and replace the negative self-talk with words of empowerment. You will begin to see shifts not only in the way you think, but in the way you live. And when those 3 days are over, you'll realize that the person you wanted to become was always inside you. You just had to believe it. What if I told you that everything you need to transform your life is already inside you? What if the key to unlocking your potential doesn't lie in external circumstances, but in the way you talk to yourself every day? We often underestimate the power of our inner dialogue. The words we speak to ourselves in moments of doubt, fear, or uncertainty shape our reality more than we realize. In fact, they can either hold us back or propel us forward. Over the next 3 days, I want you to commit to changing the way you speak to yourself, because how you talk to yourself has the power to change your life. By speaking words of encouragement, belief, and empowerment, you can shift your mindset and begin to take action that leads to personal transformation. The first principle to embrace is to talk to yourself like you are already successful. It's easy to look at successful people and think that they're different from us, that they've somehow arrived at their destination and we are still on the journey. But the truth is, success begins long before the achievement. It starts in the mind, in the belief that you are capable, worthy, and deserving of success. For the next 3 days, I challenge you to speak to yourself as if you are already the person you want to become. Imagine what it would feel like to say, "I am already successful," "I have the power to achieve my goals," or "I am fully capable of handling whatever comes my way." This doesn't mean pretending to be someone you're not or ignoring the work that still needs to be done. It means stepping into the mindset of success, embracing it now in the present, so that you can attract the results you desire. The second principle is to talk to yourself like you are worthy of everything you desire. Too often we allow doubt and insecurity to define our worth. We tell ourselves that we don't deserve success, happiness, or love unless we've earned it in some way, but the truth is you are already worthy. Your worth doesn't depend on your achievements, appearance, or any other external factor. You are inherently valuable just by being you. For the next 3 days, speak to yourself with the belief that you deserve everything you desire. Tell yourself, "I am worthy of success. I deserve happiness and peace. And I am deserving of all the good things coming my way." When you truly internalize this belief, everything in your life will begin to shift. You'll stop second-guessing your decisions and start making choices based on what you truly want, not on what you think you deserve. The third principle is to talk to yourself like you already have the answers. One of the biggest barriers to success is the belief that we don't have the knowledge, the resources, or the skills needed to move forward. We think we need to figure it all out before taking action. But the truth is, you already have everything you need within you. You have the creativity, the intelligence, and the resilience to handle whatever challenges come your way. For the next 3 days, start speaking to yourself as if you already have the answers. Instead of thinking, I don't know how to do this, say to yourself, I have the ability to figure this out, or I trust my intuition and my instincts. When you approach challenges with this mindset, you shift from a place of fear and uncertainty to a place of empowerment. You begin to trust yourself more and take inspired action, knowing that you already have the resources to succeed. The fourth principle is to talk to yourself like you are always in control. Life can sometimes feel like it's happening to us, and we often fall into the trap of believing that we are at the mercy of circumstances. We let external factors dictate how we feel, how we act, and how we respond to the world. But the truth is, you are always in control of your mindset and your actions. For the next 3 days, speak to yourself as if you are in control of your own life. Instead of saying, this situation is too much for me, say, I have the power to handle this. Or I can choose how I respond to this challenge. By taking control of your internal dialogue, you take control of your life. You stop allowing circumstances to dictate your emotions and start making intentional choices that align with your goals and values. When you speak to yourself with the confidence that you are in control, you regain your personal power and shift your perspective from feeling helpless to feeling empowered. The fifth principle is to talk to yourself like you are constantly growing. One of the most important truths to remember is that growth is a lifelong journey. No one is perfect, and we all make mistakes along the way, but the key to success is not avoiding failure, it's learning from it. For the next 3 days, speak to yourself with the belief that you are constantly growing, evolving, and becoming the best version of yourself. Instead of saying, I failed, so I'm not good enough, say, I'm learning from this experience, or every challenge is an opportunity for growth. By speaking to yourself in this way, you give yourself permission to be imperfect. You stop being afraid of failure and instead embrace it as a necessary part of the learning process. Growth is not something that happens overnight. It's a continuous journey, and every day is an opportunity to become better than you were yesterday. The sixth principle is to talk to yourself like you are worthy of taking up space. Too often, we shrink ourselves down, thinking that we need to be small or silent in order to make others feel comfortable. We downplay our achievements, our ideas, and our contributions, because we don't want to be seen as arrogant or demanding. But the truth is, you have just as much right to take up space in this world as anyone else. For the next 3 days, speak to yourself as if you are worthy of being seen, heard, and valued. Tell yourself, my voice matters. I have something valuable to contribute, and I am worthy of success and happiness. When you start speaking to yourself with this level of self-acceptance, you stop holding back. You begin to show up in the world as your true, authentic self, no longer apologizing for who you are or what you bring to the table. You'll be amazed at how this shift in self-talk can impact your confidence, your relationships, and your overall sense of fulfillment. These 6 principles, speaking to yourself as if you are already successful, worthy of everything you desire, capable of handling any challenge, always in control, constantly growing, and worthy of taking up space are designed to help you unlock your full potential. For the next 3 days, make a commitment to change the way you speak to yourself. Replace self-doubt with empowerment, fear with confidence, and insecurity with self-acceptance. By doing so, you'll begin to see a powerful transformation in your life. The way you talk to yourself shapes the way you experience the world. And when you speak from a place of strength, self-belief, and love, you open the door to unlimited possibilities. Imagine for a moment the potential within you. Imagine what could happen if you were to transform the way you speak to yourself. We often think that external circumstances determine our happiness, success, and confidence. But the truth is, your inner dialogue has the power to shape your reality more than anything else. What you say to yourself, the words you choose to repeat in your mind, are the very things that drive your actions, your beliefs, and your sense of worth. If you're willing to commit to just 3 days of changing the way you speak to yourself, you can begin a journey of transformation that will impact every area of your life. The challenge is simple. Speak to yourself in a way that empowers, encourages, and uplifts. Over time, these words will reshape your mindset and ultimately your life. The first principle is to talk to yourself like you are already living your dream life. It's easy to fall into the trap of thinking that happiness, success, or fulfillment are things that come someday. When we've reached certain goals or milestones, we often say things like, "I'll be happy when I get that promotion," or "I'll feel successful when I finally start my business." But the truth is, the feeling of success, fulfillment, and happiness isn't reserved for some future version of you. It's available right now in this moment. For the next 3 days, start speaking to yourself as if you're already living the life you desire. Imagine what it would feel like to say, "I am living my dream life right now. I am successful, and I am already aligned with my goals and desires." When you do this, you shift your mindset from waiting for external circumstances to change to embracing the reality that you have the power to create the life you want right now. This is not about pretending or living in denial. It's about embracing the idea that your mindset and beliefs shape your reality. The more you speak to yourself as if your dreams have already come true, the more you'll take actions that align with that mindset. You'll begin to act with confidence, make decisions that move you closer to your goals, and attract the right opportunities into your life. The second principle is to talk to yourself like you have unlimited potential. How many times have you talked yourself out of doing something because you didn't believe you were capable? Maybe you've doubted your abilities, your skills, or your worthiness to pursue big dreams. We all have moments of self-doubt, but here's the truth: you have unlimited potential. For the next 3 days, I want you to speak to yourself like the limitless being that you are. Instead of saying, "I can't do that," or "I'm not capable," start saying, "I have unlimited potential. I am capable of achieving anything I set my mind to, and I am constantly evolving and growing." When you speak to yourself from a place of believing in your limitless potential, you remove the mental blocks that hold you back. You stop guessing yourself and start taking bold steps toward your goals. When you realize that your potential is not confined to any one moment or circumstance, you free yourself to dream bigger, reach higher, and achieve more than you ever thought possible. You'll be amazed at how empowering it feels to take action from a place of believing in your limitless capabilities. The third principle is to talk to yourself like you are grateful for every step of your journey. Too often, we focus on what we haven't achieved yet or what still needs to be done. We forget to appreciate how far we've come. The truth is, every step of your journey, no matter how small or challenging, has brought you to where you are today. For the next 3 days, speak to yourself with gratitude for the progress you've made and the lessons you've learned. Instead of saying, "I'm not where I want to be," try saying, "I am grateful for how far I've come. I'm proud of the progress I've made, and every experience has helped me grow into who I am today." Gratitude has the power to shift your mindset from one of lack to one of abundance. When you practice self-gratitude, you acknowledge the strength and resilience that have carried you through. This mindset helps you appreciate every moment, every challenge, and every victory along the way, giving you the energy to keep going and striving for more. The fourth principle is to talk to yourself like you are in control of your life. It's easy to feel like life happens to us, that we are just along for the ride. We often let our circumstances, other people's actions, or the opinions of the world dictate how we feel and what we do. But the truth is, you are in control of your life. The choices you make every day shape your reality. For the next 3 days, start speaking to yourself as if you are fully in control of your life. Instead of thinking, I have no control over this, or I can't change my situation, say, I am in control of my thoughts, actions, and responses. I create my own reality, and I have the power to shape my future. When you speak to yourself with this sense of ownership and control, you empower yourself to take action. You stop waiting for life to happen and start making things happen. You realize that no matter what obstacles come your way, you have the strength and ability to navigate them and create the life you want. The fifth principle is to talk to yourself like you are deserving of all the good things in life. Many of us struggle with feelings of unworthiness. We question whether we truly deserve the success, happiness, and love we desire. But the truth is, you are worthy of all the good things life has to offer. For the next 3 days, speak to yourself as if you already believe you deserve everything you desire. Tell yourself, I am deserving of love, success, and happiness. I am worthy of achieving my dreams. And I am deserving of all the blessings coming my way. When you truly believe that you deserve the best life has to offer, you stop settling for less. You start to make decisions that align with your worth, and you refuse to accept anything that doesn't serve your highest good. Speaking to yourself from a place of deservingness opens you up to receive all the wonderful things that are waiting for you. The sixth principle is to talk to yourself like you are the author of your own story. Too often, we let other people or circumstances define who we are and what we're capable of. But the truth is, you are the author of your own story. For the next 3 days, speak to yourself as if you have the pen in your hand and are writing the script of your life. Instead of thinking, I don't have control over my story, say, I am writing my own narrative. I have the power to change my story at any time, and my future is in my hands. When you recognize that you are the author of your own story, you take responsibility for the direction of your life. You stop letting external factors dictate your narrative and instead make choices that reflect the life you want to create. The seventh principle is to talk to yourself like you are proud of who you are. Far too often, we are our own worst critics. We judge ourselves for our mistakes, flaws, and imperfections. But the truth is, you are a work of art, constantly evolving and growing. For the next 3 days, speak to yourself with pride. Say, I am proud of who I am am constantly improving, and I embrace my unique qualities and strengths. When you speak to yourself with pride, you stop focusing on your shortcomings and start recognizing your strengths. You begin to appreciate the person you are today while working toward becoming the person you want to be tomorrow. This sense of pride in yourself fuels your confidence and empowers you to take bold steps toward your goals. These 7 principles, speaking to yourself as if you are already living your dream life, recognizing your unlimited potential, being grateful for your journey, embracing your control over your life, believing you deserve the best, owning the authorship of your story, and being proud of who you are, will transform the way you see yourself and the world around you. For the next 3 days, commit to speaking to yourself with love, encouragement, and belief. These shifts in your self-talk will open doors, spark new opportunities, and ultimately help you create the life you've always dreamed of. Imagine the power of your thoughts. Imagine the impact that shifting the way you talk to yourself could have on your life. We often underestimate the influence of our inner dialogue. The words we say to ourselves shape not only how we feel, but also how we act and what we believe is possible for our lives. It's easy to get trapped in a cycle of self-doubt, fear, and negativity, but the truth is, you have the ability to transform your mindset with just a few simple shifts in your self-talk. For the next 3 days, I challenge you to commit to talking to yourself differently, to speak to yourself with encouragement, strength, and belief. When you speak to yourself from a place of empowerment, you begin to change the trajectory of your life. The way you talk to yourself shapes your thoughts, your actions, and ultimately, your reality. The first principle is to talk to yourself like you are already who you want to become. It's easy to get stuck in the idea that you'll only be successful, confident, or fulfilled once you reach a certain milestone or achieve a particular goal. But the truth is, The transformation begins long before the external achievements. It starts in the mind. For the next 3 days, begin speaking to yourself as if you are already the person you want to become. Tell yourself, I am successful, I am confident, I am capable of achieving my dreams. Instead of waiting for the future to dictate who you are, start embracing the reality that you already possess the qualities and strengths you desire. By aligning yourself with the version of you who has already succeeded, you begin to take actions that align with that future reality. The words you say to yourself are the first steps toward becoming that person. The second principle is to talk to yourself like you are constantly evolving and growing. We often focus on our flaws or shortcomings, thinking that we need to be perfect in order to succeed. But the truth is, success is not about perfection, it's about growth. For the next 3 days, speak to yourself with the belief that you are always learning, improving, and evolving. Tell yourself, I am always growing. Every experience teaches me something valuable, and I am becoming the best version of myself. When you speak to yourself this way, you release the pressure to be perfect and instead embrace the journey of continuous growth. Every challenge, every mistake, and every setback becomes an opportunity for you to grow stronger and wiser. The third principle is to talk to yourself like you are worthy of success and happiness. Too often, we hold ourselves back because we don't believe we deserve to achieve our goals or experience happiness. We think that we need to work harder or prove ourselves in some way before we're worthy of success. But the truth is, you are worthy of everything you desire simply because you exist. For the next 3 days, speak to yourself with the understanding that you are deserving of all the good things life has to offer. Tell yourself, I am worthy of success, I deserve happiness, and I am deserving of love, abundance, and peace. When you speak to yourself from a place of worthiness, you stop settling for less than you deserve. You start making decisions that reflect your true value, and you open yourself up to receiving all the blessings that are meant for you. The fourth principle is to talk to yourself like you are the creator of your own reality. Too often, we feel like life is happening to us, like we're simply reacting to circumstances and waiting for things to fall into place. But the truth is, you are the creator of your own reality. Every decision you make, every action you take, shapes your life in profound ways. For the next 3 days, speak to yourself like you are in control of your life. Say things like, I am the creator of my future. I choose how I respond to every situation. And I have the power to create the life I desire. By taking full responsibility for your life, you stop blaming circumstances or other people for your challenges. Instead, you take ownership of your decisions, actions, and the direction your life is heading. This sense of control and agency is incredibly empowering, and it will inspire you to make choices that align with your goals and vision. The fifth principle is to talk to yourself like you are proud of your progress. It's easy to get caught up in what we haven't done yet, what we still need to achieve, or how far we still have to go. But when we focus solely on the future, we miss the opportunity to celebrate how far we've already come. For the next 3 days, practice speaking to yourself with pride for what you've accomplished so far. Instead of saying, I'm not where I want to be, say, I am proud of how far I've come. I have made great progress, and I have overcome many challenges to get to this point. When you speak to yourself with pride, you acknowledge the hard work, resilience, and strength that have brought you to where you are today. This sense of pride will fuel your motivation and give you the energy to keep moving forward. The sixth principle is to talk to yourself like you are unstoppable. Life is full of challenges, and there will always be obstacles along the way. But the truth is, you are capable of overcoming anything that comes your way. For the next 3 days, speak to yourself with the belief that nothing can stop you. Say things like, I am unstoppable. I have the strength to overcome any challenge, and I am resilient and capable of achieving my goals no matter what. When you speak to yourself like this, you tap into your inner strength and determination. You stop letting fear or doubt hold you back, and you move forward with confidence, knowing that you can handle whatever comes your way. The seventh principle is to talk to yourself like you are deserving of rest and self-care. In a world that glorifies hustle and productivity, it's easy to feel guilty for taking a break or focusing on self-care. But the truth is, you cannot pour from an empty cup. For the next 3 days, speak to yourself with the understanding that you deserve rest, relaxation, and time to recharge. Tell yourself, I deserve rest. Taking care of myself is essential to my success, and I prioritize my well-being. When you speak to yourself with this level of self-care, you shift your mindset from one of burnout to one of balance. You give yourself permission to take care of your body, mind, and soul, which will ultimately make you more effective and focused in every area of your life. The eighth principle is to talk to yourself like you are always enough. We often feel like we need to do more, be more, or have more in order to be enough. But the truth is, you are already enough. You don't need to prove your worth or seek validation from others. For the next 3 days, speak to yourself with the understanding that you are enough just as you are. Say things like, I am enough. I don't need to prove myself to anyone. And I am worthy of love and success just as I am. When you speak to yourself in this way, you stop seeking external validation and start embracing your inherent worth. You begin to show up in the world as your authentic self, confident in who you are and what you bring to the table. These 8 principles, speaking to yourself as though you are already who you want to become, constantly evolving, worthy of success, the creator of your own reality, proud of your progress, unstoppable, deserving of rest, and always enough, will help you create the life you truly desire. For the next 3 days, commit to speaking to yourself with love, encouragement, and empowerment. The way you talk to yourself shapes the way you experience the world. When you speak from a place of self-belief, gratitude, and strength, you begin to transform your life in ways you never thought possible. As you take this journey of transformation, remember this: your words are the blueprint of your destiny. The way you speak to yourself today will shape the reality you experience tomorrow. You hold the power within you to rewrite your story, to rise above challenges, and to create a life filled with purpose, fulfillment, and success. The world will try to tell you what you can and cannot do, but the most important voice is the one within you. For the next 3 days and beyond, make a conscious choice to speak to yourself with love, strength, and unshakable belief. Don't wait for external validation. Don't wait for the world to tell you that you are enough. You are already enough. You are already capable. You are already worthy. Every thought, every word, every action that stems from this truth will propel you closer to the life you deserve. The power to change your life is in your hands. It starts with the words you speak to yourself. And when you believe in your own power, when you speak with confidence, gratitude, and unwavering faith, you begin to create the future you've always dreamed of. So go forward with this truth. You are the architect of your own destiny. Speak like you believe it, act like you believe it, and live like you believe it. The world is waiting for you to show up, and it's waiting for the incredible things you are about to create.